Welcome in. This is the First Time Keys podcast. I'm your host, Adam McCallister, and I am glad to have you with us as we kick off this brand new venture. And this is not the first episode. I believe the kids call this the teaser episode. This is the description. This is the describing of what this podcast is all going to be about. And I just want to say, kicking this off, this has already been quite the venture. I've spent 35 minutes in my closet trying to figure out what to wear for a podcast. I realize this for many of you, you're listening to this, so you're like, Adam, I don't care what you're wearing. But this is also going to be simulcast on YouTube, and I put way too much thought. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you are welcome for the black long sleeve, because when all else fails, the black long sleeve is the choice of wardrobe professionals. So you're welcome, everybody. You're welcome, America. Oh my goodness. Thank you. Thank you for hanging with us. This is going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited to bring this to you. So what is the First Time Keys podcast? This is directed to the first time home buyer. If your goal is to buy your first home, you're who I'm talking to. Now, I'm going to get into what is a first time home buyer in a few minutes, but I want to just tackle what this is going to look like. What does the game plan look like here at First Time Keys? So we're going to do a 3-day-a-week podcast. We're going to do a Monday show. Monday show is going to be topic generated. We're going to pick a topic that deals with real estate, with buying your first home. We may talk about getting pre-approved. We may be talking about when you're doing a walkthrough at your first showing or at a showing, dealing with home inspectors. We're going to have a multi-part episodes is plural, on Zillow. Yeah, we're going to tackle that 40,000-pound gorilla in the real estate room. So the very first episode of the week, that's going to be topic generated. Then Wednesday, midweek, that's when I want to introduce you to some past clients, people who were before first-time home buyers and are now just homeowners, and give you some real-world examples and some real-world stories of what they faced and the lessons they learned and the things that, if they had to do it all over again, would they do differently? And then finally, Friday's shows, those are going to be interviews. Those are going to be interviews with industry experts. We may be talking with mortgage reps, insurance brokers, title folks, home inspectors. My goal is to have an appraiser get in and let us in behind the velvet rope, so to speak, of the appraisers, because appraisals, and we're going to have shows dedicated to just appraisers, but they are certainly one of the more mysterious pieces of home buying. That's what we're going to be discussing. That's what the week is going to look like. Now, who am I? Again, my name is Adam McCallister, and I've been a licensed realtor since 2012. I have, I started as an independent agent for the last 12, 13 years. My business partner, Rob Myers, and we have been the team leaders and co-owners of the Adam McCallister, Rob Myers team with eXp Realty. Rob is actually one of the managing brokers for the state of Pennsylvania with eXp, and we're super excited to have him in that role. Personally, I have, I'm a husband, I'm a dad. My wife and I have 5 kids. Yeah. If you think buying a home is fun, try raising 5 kids. I'm also a granddad of 4 grandchildren and counting. Not right now, but we do know that more are coming. So I can tell you that as a dad, and we've got all adult children, and I've had the ability and the pleasure of being able to help 3 of those 5 buy their first home. And I will tell you, as the ultimate hypocrite, I am the worst dad at a home inspection. And I will tell you, as a realtor, dads at home inspections are like John McClane and Die Hard. They're just crawling through ductwork. They're looking underneath stoves because somebody has to. They're just looking in everything, and there's always a tape measure and a flashlight. In fact, I know some home inspectors that will bring along an extra flashlight and a tape measure to give to dads to keep them busy. But for me, oh yeah, home inspection time, I'm in there, man, because I want to know, first off, the home that I picked out for them and help them get under contract. I want to make sure that you know what? You got to make sure you're good. You got to make sure your reputation's in check. So that's a little bit about me. And I've done most of my business as a buyer's agent in my 14 years, soon to be 14 years in this business. And it's been great. I love the buying side of the transaction. Buying a home as opposed to selling a home, buying a home is 90% emotional. And before I got into real estate, I was a DJ. Yeah, the voice, it's real. So I was a DJ for 20 years, and I was used to helping folks get their weddings organized and plan all that out. And what I realized was that planning on a wedding, if you've gone through that experience, it's very similar to buying a home, except there's no open bar. But if we need to go grab a beverage, I'm all for it. Because of that, my business, I've made it home buyers, and particularly my forte, my specialty really is first-time home buyers. So I want to be able to share that information with you. So the home buying process for you when you're ready to get started is a little easier, is a little simpler, and hopefully a little bit smoother, that you're not needing ketamine therapy. If we get through this and you're like, Adam, thank you for the information, I no longer need ayahuasca or whatever the hell it is Aaron Rodgers is doing. Perfect. Now I can sleep better at night, and I have fulfilled my goal to help you. So where am I located at? So I'm based here in South Central PA. I'm in the York, Lancaster, Gettysburg, Harrisburg, Hershey. Yes, if you're outside the area, you're like, Hershey, you mean like the chocolate bar? Yes, just like the chocolate bar. So that's my home base. But the great news is whether you're buying a home here in South Central PA or you're buying a home anywhere in the country, the similarities are way too much together. That may not have been the right words to use, but there's a lot of similarities between buying a home here and buying a home anywhere in the country. The differences are going to be very nuanced. For instance, if you're buying a home in, say, New York or New Jersey, you're going to have a 7-day attorney review. That's something we don't have here in PA. And just if you're buying a home in Florida, you may have to register your alligator with the local HOA. Again, things we don't have here in Pennsylvania. Most of what we're going to be discussing, you can use as you're going to your local market and you're making the plans to buy your first home. By the way, I'm happy to connect you when it's time that you're going, hey, I'm actually ready. Let's get this thing going. I can connect you with some great agents all over this country. In fact, all over the globe. So when you're ready, and by the way, if you haven't already done so, hit the like and subscribe button. When you are ready, just message me, and you can actually email me at any time. If you're watching this on YouTube, it's right there on screen now. And if you're listening, my email address is adam@mnt with exp. That's my email address. You can email me at any time. All right. So who is this for? I already said this is for first-time homeowners. But first-time homeowners it's a term that I think it's stereotyped. And almost anyone can be a first-time home buyer. Because I think the stereotype is when you think first-time home buyer, what comes to mind? For many, it's that couple or that person in their early 20s. They're moving out of the house. They're becoming adults. And they're getting their first taste of the American dream, which is going 30 years into debt by purchasing a home. And that's true. That is one type of first-time home buyer. But let me add a little depth and a little bit of layers to this. We're gonna peel this onion, Shrek. I've had first-time home buyers that are 60-year-old widows that they bought their first home back in the 1960s, 70s, and 80s, and now they're in a stage of life where they don't need that much house. Or maybe it's a house that has steps, and they really can't go up and down the steps anymore. The body has a warranty, and that part of the machine isn't working like it used to. So they want to have a house where they don't have to worry about steps. But it's been several presidential administrations since they purchased a home, since they've gone through this. And I can tell you the way that real estate worked back in the 70s and the way we buy and sell homes now in 2025 are night and day. So to me, that's a new first-time home buyer. The first-time home buyer can be a divorcee. Maybe they're in their 40s or 50s and they married into their first home, or their spouse, their ex-spouse, took care of the finances and the home purchase. So now they're establishing that next chapter of life, and now they have to learn how to buy a home. They're a first-time home buyer. Maybe it's that person in their 30s who's, you know what, I got the shits of paying rent. I need to get out on my own and take control of my finances and start building some wealth. And their first step in that is becoming a homeowner. They're a first-time home buyer. And yes, it is that young couple in their 20s with maybe a kid, maybe even two kids, and they've outgrown the apartment, or they've outgrown mom and dad's house, and now it's time to get out. Obviously, that's the first-time home buyer that I think a lot of folks think about. You may be asking, Adam, do we really need another podcast done by a middle-aged white guy? And quite honestly, we probably don't. I'll be the first to agree with you there. But I'm here, you're here, so we might as well do this thing. And why do I want to do this? You see, the biggest obstacle I have with my job as a realtor is fighting bad information and worse, misinformation. Google University and your uncle that bought a house back in 1989, there's some good tidbits here and there, but they really don't have the real world first-person experience of buying a home in today's market. I bought my first home back in 1999, and we sold that house last year, or excuse me, we sold that house 5 years ago. We've now been living here five years. We sold that house 5 years ago, and the process for buying our current home, from when I remember buying that first home back in 1999, vastly different. So our industry and the way you buy and sell homes changes every single year. So this is the ability to give you the information that you can be a smarter home buyer and also make the process smoother. That is my goal with this, because I want to make sure that you're getting into the process and going, I'm not sure how to do this, that this gives you a little bit of knowledge to make the home buying process a little bit easier for you. The other part of this too is when you're buying a home, most folks don't recognize that real estate is still very much a localized relationship business. And you got to remember, when you're buying a home, you really are about to get into one of the most intimate relationships with another human. We won't go how far intimate. We do have contracts and insurance for those reasons. But you're going to get into some very in-depth conversations. And remember, I said home buying is 90% emotional. You're going to have some very emotional times, both good and bad. And I'm going to try to focus on the good by relaying some of the bad that can be out there so that you're set up for the most amount of success possible. And that when the time comes that you're ready to get started, the information you're getting here makes you more comfortable to reach out and connect with another human to get into that relationship, that when it's done, that relationship that you form when you're buying a home, it doesn't end when they give you the keys. Because I've got some great past clients that have become more than clients, they've become friends, and some of those friends that have become family. So the goal here is to make home buying a little less mystical, take out some of the question marks, give you some confidence, give you some real world information, and overall make you a smarter and sharper first-time home buyer. So with that, again, my name is Adam McCallister, and welcome to First Time Keys Podcast.